Hey everybody, this is going to be my Justice League Easter eggs video. No surprise, they did everything they possibly could from the DC universe, so just careful for spoilers from the movie if you haven't seen it yet. We'll have to talk about really specific things. So the way I'm going to do this is just going to be the Easter eggs and references from the movie. I'm not going to include too many of the deleted scenes because they're all fascinating, but I'm going to do a separate video next week for all the deleted scenes, the deleted storylines, because they changed the edit, they completely changed the narrative of the film. So that'll all happen next week, but if you are finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. I'm also doing that IMAX ticket giveaway for the rest of the year. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. I announce winners at the end of videos. So starting with the biggest thing first, the one thing that everybody's been confused about since they announced Aquaman a couple years ago, Unite the Seven, because there's this larger Green Lantern conversation going on, and obviously the whole point of Justice League was to get the team together. But even if you include Superman, there are only 6 members, so people are like, who's the 7th member? What does Unite the Seven mean? It was revealed recently that it actually has nothing to do with Justice League. It's an Aquaman thing, and it's a reference to Unite the Seven Seas, which was a New 52 storyline. Geoff Johns was getting ready to write this big Aquaman run, but then Rebirth happened, so they canceled their plans, and they incorporated most of that storyline into the Aquaman movie. The Seven Seas is a reference to the 7 different kingdoms of Atlantis. So Atlantis is a city, but it's also a nation. So they'll deal with Aquaman taking the throne, the uniting of the Atlantean nation, or maybe the reformation of the nation during the Aquaman movie. But speaking of Atlantis stuff, that big Steppenwolf flashback scene, you spotted a whole bunch of stuff during that. So most people were freaking out about the nameless Green Lantern, and he isn't a specific one from the comics because this is taking place about 5,000 years ago, and the oldest Green Lantern that we know about in Sector 2814, which is the sector that Earth resides in, is Yalan Gur, and he was around about 2,000 years ago, so we're still way off. So this isn't intended to be any specific Green Lantern, just evidence that the Green Lantern Corps exists in the universe and they're out there somewhere. The connection you could make, though, is that because this is the Green Lantern of Earth's sector, this would be the ring that would eventually pass to Abin Sur, that would eventually pass to Hal Jordan. Within that sequence, you also spot an Atlantean wearing the same armor and a crown that looks like Aquaman's, wielding the same trident. That's King Atlan, the original king of Atlantis. So they're just saying that he's Aquaman's ancestor, and obviously there's a lot of deleted scenes from Atlantis in the Justice League movie, so you don't actually see him swimming to get the armor and the trident, but that's what he does after this moment here when he gets done arguing with Mera. So there's just like a lot of Atlantis stuff that got deleted out of the movie. They'll deal with that during the Aquaman movie. You spot one of the Amazonian gods, obviously because he's wielding lightning powers. You assume that it's Zeus. That's pretty much who it is. So obviously it's before the big rebellion, before Ares kills the rest of the gods, before the creation of Themyscira, but after the creation of the Amazons, because you spot Hippolyta here, you spot Robin Wright Penn's character. She's kind of blurry because of all the CG, but she did come back to shoot these scenes. Steppenwolf mentions the death of the old gods when he comes back in present day. The old gods are dead. He talks about ending his exile and taking his rightful place as one of the new gods. So that's them teasing Darkseid and the New Gods universe. Who knows how long it's going to be before we see them in a movie. But it does raise some interesting questions about how you transition from the old gods to the new gods, because the old gods of the New Gods comic books, the Fourth World comics, are a little bit different from the gods of the Wonder Woman comics. So what the DC movies might do is they might just combine those ideas, whereby the power of the old gods can't be killed, it's just transferred to the new gods. So Darkseid, Highfather, the other new gods just absorbed all of the energy that was given off when Wonder Woman's gods died. But for those of you asking about the MacGuffin, the mother boxes, why he kept saying the word mother, that's also part of a deleted storyline. It's a slight change to the way mother boxes work in the comics. He's talking to his literal mother, Hegra. Her essence is contained in the mother boxes and is part of that deleted storyline. It was this whole different plan to wield the power to fight Darkseid, but they turned it into more of a terraforming thing. So that's not so much an Easter egg, it's more of a deleted scenes thing that I'll just add to that video. The statue that Wonder Woman is standing on at the beginning of the film is Themis, a titan from Greek mythology. The sword that she wields is actually a representation of her ability to divide right and wrong, so she's literally standing on a representation of the old gods of mythology, which also sort of feeds into the idea of the new gods, Darkseid, Apocalypse. You remember the exploding wind-up penguins line from Alfred? That's just a reference to all the really campy Batman stuff from the 66 movie, even from the Tim Burton movies with the wind-up toys that exploded. They had a room with special armor like they did during the 89 Batman film, like he had the Japanese armor. You see a version of that here. They also used the 89 Batman Danny Elfman theme because Danny Elfman scored the film. He worked in a couple bars of that when they were meeting with Gordon. They also used a bit of the John Williams theme when Superman comes back, Pet Sematary style. Cyborg did his catchphrase from the comics, "Boo-yah." That probably got one of the biggest cheers in my theater. The actor who played Jimmy Olsen from the 78 Superman film was playing one of the prison guards. When he calls Batman to alert him that the Flash is in proximity, he's coming to the prison, trying to track him down, he uses an app that's the red bat phone from the 60s TV series. Superman racing the Flash is one of the best things ever. They raced each other a couple times during the movie, and then there was that funny scene where Superman kind of inches him out with his eyeball, like letting you know that he's almost as fast as the Flash. They've raced a number of times in the comics. The first time I talked about it during my post-credits scene video was in Superman number 199. It was a race for charity and ended up being a tie. The stakes of the race in the movie are just callbacks to jokes from earlier, like the brunch thing or you're off the team. Barry loves to be on the team. He's also really weird about brunch. There was a weird retroactive Aquaman Easter egg for the Man of Steel movie, so Jason Momoa revealed that when they were shooting Justice League, he talked to Zack Snyder about the Man of Steel sequence where he's saving people out in the ocean on the oil rig, and he's like, wouldn't it be cool if Aquaman were there? And he said that Snyder revealed to him, yes, that was my intention, that Aquaman was there to help him out, because there's a moment where it sort of rises out of the ocean by itself. So just confirmation that Aquaman was doing Aquaman stuff while Man of Steel was happening. Obviously, that second post-credit scene is a reference to the Injustice League. We need a league of our own. So it's going to start with Deathstroke and Lex Luthor. Presumably, they'll grab a couple of the other evil characters we've seen so far, maybe some Suicide Squad characters. Lex has his head shaved like classic Gene Hackman Lex Luthor, and he's wearing the exact same suit that he wore during the 78 Superman film. But there's also a line where Lois says kitten grooming. She talks about not doing regular journalism. She's doing all the fluff pieces. That's actually a reference to the 78 Superman film. When Clark Kent comes to the Daily Planet for the first time, meets Lois Lane, she has a joke about dog grooming, I believe, because she's working on a murder case, but there's some fluff piece that he's trying to get her to write, and she tries to brush him off. That's what that's a reference to. There were all kinds of Flash Easter eggs, so obviously a lot of his storyline got deleted. They deleted the Iris West character, but he's fluent in Gorilla Sign Language. Better brush up on that before we get to the Flashpoint movie. So I'm assuming that they're planning on doing Grodd at some point, otherwise they wouldn't have bothered to mention him. But Barry's father is in prison. They're obviously setting up the Flashpoint storyline. He was wrongfully accused. That's just a reference to Reverse Flash killing his mother, so they're just laying track for that to pay off during Flashpoint. But in his lair, we find out that he's a big K-pop fan. He's actually listening to As If It Was Your Last by Blackpink. That's the song that's playing when everything turns on. He has the Needful Things episode of Rick and Morty on in the background. Most of you, even if you haven't read Pet Sematary, the Stephen King book, probably understood what they meant when they were talking about Superman coming back wrong. Pet Sematary is a horror story about a little kid that buries his cat in this Indian burial ground cemetery. It comes back to life, but it comes back evil. So that's why Barry says, is this going to be a Pet Sematary situation? And for those of you that are confused about why Pet Sematary is spelled with an S, that's what the title of the Stephen King story is. Superman returning the "Do you bleed" line to Batman probably got one of the biggest shouts in my theater. You see some Ace Chemicals buildings in the background of Gotham. You also see Janus, a corporation which is owned by Roman Sionis' company, who is the Black Mask. So they might be teasing some future Black Mask, depending on how they change their plans for movies. Batman standing on the gargoyle here like this is actually a reference to the cover from Detective Comics number 682. Zack Snyder obviously does a lot of those types of things. He did it during Batman v Superman with the panel from Dark Knight Returns. When he says, "Good to see you working with others again," that's a reference to Bat Family. Obviously, we know that Nightwing and Barbara Gordon and Batgirl are going to be actual characters that we'll meet relatively soon in the DC Universe. That's about as far as you can take it. You can assume Red Hood things based on the Suicide Squad Joker story, but there might be some timeline edits, so don't get too crazy with Bat Family. Probably one of the coolest 78 Superman references is when Clark is out in the cornfield back during the middle part of the film. He's wearing the same type of plaid shirt that was worn by Clark Kent in the 1978 Superman film. The end of the film is sort of a big tease for the new Hall of Justice. It's going to be in the old Wayne Manor. Obviously, he's going to start fixing it up. He says they need 6 chairs around a big long table, a reference to the 6 of them that have just come together. But Wonder Woman says yes, but room for more, teasing Green Lantern showing up eventually and possible future members of the Justice League that they could pull from the comics. One of the coolest Easter eggs is actually the November 17th release date. That's actually the 25th anniversary of the death of Superman in the comics. But let me know in the comments if you spotted any other Easter eggs in the film that I didn't mention. Like I said, there's 50 minutes of the film that has been cut out, but I'll talk a little more about that when I post my deleted scenes video. So that'll drop sometime early next week. Obviously, we have all the Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, TV crossover stuff happening, so just look out for that to drop too. Congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Andrew Suarez. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. I'll announce a new winner when I post new DC. You can click here for my post-credit scene video, and you can click here for the new crossover trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.